All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the Mcguffins podcast. This is part one of our favorite films of the decade. The discussion went on for over 2 hours, so we decided to upload it in multiple parts to make it easier for you guys. In this first part, we begin by introducing ourselves and talking about the best movies of 2010. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, so we're the Mcguffins, right?
McGuffins.
That's who we are. That's what we decided to name ourselves. And we're here to start this new podcast. Most of the time, we're probably going to be talking about movies, but every now and then we'll dabble into TV shows, and Matthew and I could get into some anime,
Anime.
Mr. Grek, because he likes Cowboy Bebop. And I'm sure a lot of our followers would be happy if we, mixed up the content every now and then.
I won't take part in those discussions.
But
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't
today,
have to be anime. It could be whatever. Like, we might just have a topic that we're already talking about during the day, and if we just want to release it to the public,
yeah, we're
and do
definitely
that.
not. We're not going to limit our source material
We
here.
just talk about
Uh,
movies a lot, so
yeah, the main thing we talk about is movies, and because it has such a big effect on pop culture, and every year we see, politics and pop culture evolving, and our movies reflect that, and sometimes movies don't reflect that, and sometimes it's just a breath of fresh air to get a movie that doesn't have a social message in it, but it's also great when you get a movie that has a message in it that isn't political. It's something that just wants to tell you a message for the sake of being art, and that's going to be the point of this podcast. We're going to talk to you guys about your perspectives on a lot of these things and a lot of these movies, and basically take a lot of your ideas and fuck them all up, right?
yeah. I mean,
No, but we're
we
gonna
all
we want to
generally
get.
have different opinions and stuff, so it's always nice to hear multiple points of view.
And that's the best part, is we're all different. All three of us are different, and that's basically what sparked us to want to do this in the first place. You know, the fact that Anthony and I like The Rise of Skywalker and Matthew doesn't like The Rise of Skywalker. And,
Yeah.
that's going to be another topic for a different podcast. But today, we want to focus on your favorite movies of the decade. It's,
Yeah.
it's almost February. It's getting in there. It'll be 2021 before you even know it. So we want to talk
We're
about.
12 days into January. It's not almost.
Yeah. It feels like New Year's Eve was like yesterday.
So I'm Doob, right? That's what Matt's probably gonna refer to me as Doob in the podcast. So my niche, I'm a big horror guy. I talk a lot about horror movies, but I'm not gonna be biased. You know, when we're talking about our favorite movies of the decade, I'm not gonna put a horror movie in there for the sake of it being a horror movie, because that's objective. You can't. But I do want to talk a lot about horror, and I am a huge Star Wars guy. I just feel like I have this need to talk about these things, and that's why we're here, guys. And we're gonna make something happen. How about you, Ant?
All right. Ant. Uh, Ant. I guess we're going with that. Or Swanson, LeBronson, Swanee. Uh,
Swanson. We got Swanson, LeBron.
uh, I mean, Eric and I can go all day about horror. I like horror a lot too, but I think if I was to come down to what is my favorite, I love just getting absolutely mind fucked by movies like psychological thrillers. Um, we were just talking about it the other day, talking about how these movies that are produced lately by A24 studios, those movies have just been taking me like to different places. Those movies have been really like making you think and just make it like when you finish the movie, you're just constantly thinking about it. I love those types of movies. We're gonna get into a lot of those
Those are the best.
those kinds of movies where it ends and it doesn't tell you how it ends. It's pretty much up to your um, basically up to your interpretation. And I love when the directors like Christopher Nolan's like this too. He doesn't like to tell you. He pretty much leaves it very vague and ambiguous for you to interpret yourself. So I like those kinds of movies a lot. I like horror. Um, I like it pretty much all of it. I was even watching. I've been watching some fucking romance movies lately, just to like just the movies that people have been talking about that are like, oh, this movie's super good, or like this movie's getting nominated for Golden Globes. I'm like, well, if it's getting nominated for a Golden Globe, maybe I should try it out. So I've been trying these movies out, and I've just been really expanding my palette recently, and I'm pretty much open to anything. But yeah, I love psychological thrillers. Those are the best.
Go into what you're doing this month. You're doing this 31 days of what? 31 movies
Yeah,
for January.
I start for 2020. I wanted to start off pretty big and just watch, like I was just saying, watch a lot of movies that I wouldn't normally watch. So I'm watching a movie for every single day of the month. Some days I'll do two if I'm not really busy. But yeah, I'm going for 31 movies by the end of the month, and they're all movies that are first watch, so I haven't seen them before. So I figure it's gonna give me a good base for movies to start with, start talking about, and I've been trying to pick out ones that that I think that we should all discuss in the future. The ones that, like critically acclaimed movies that can really hold some nice discussion. So I've been doing that. I'm a little ahead of schedule right now. We're on day 12 of January. I think I'm at 14 or 15 right now. So
Wow,
Ooh.
you might get ahead of the game, bro.
OT.
putting in some overtime.
Jeez.
All right. So, Greg.
All right. Well, my name is Matt. Calls me Greg. That's basically part of my last name, but who cares? I'm more of just kind of like a casual movie viewer. I like pretty much all genres of movies. I don't really care if someone says it's good, I'll probably watch it. I've watched a lot of action movies. That's probably like the majority of what I watch. I basically like similar movies to what Anthony was talking about, the psychological ones. I really like those ones that actually like have a twist in it that you don't really expect what's going to happen. I like comedy movies a lot more than most people would. So I can talk about those a lot too, because comedy movies are really good because you can watch them like all the time. You can watch them in different settings than like a really serious movie that you got to pay attention to. Like if you miss a tiny little detail, you're fucked. So it's like it's nice to just sit back and just like, haha, this movie's funny. Like cool actors. So that's pretty much me.
And that's that. And that's why our first topic is going to be one of the most interesting of first topics, and that is our favorite movies of the decade. Because this is the first decade that we can actually say that we've been, mature enough to remember, you know?
Right.
And we went and saw a lot of movies, and a lot of different movies have put a mark on pop culture, even though they came out 10 years ago. And it doesn't seem like it was that long ago,
No.
So we're going to start off with 2010. What was your favorite movie of 2010, Matt?
My favorite movie for 2010 probably just be Book of Eli, because it was like
Book
I
of
was saying
Eli.
earlier. Yeah, I had it. The reason I watched it was because I had it assigned to me as like a school project. I forget what it was about. It was in like ethics or something like that. And it was like I sat down to watch it, and it was cool because like I actually liked it, because it was a big movie at the time, but I don't watch like a lot of movies sometimes, so sometimes I miss movies. So like I've heard about it before, and it was like that one kind of had a twist on it where I wasn't really expecting it. Maybe it's just because like I saw it kind of later than everybody else, but I don't know. I thought it was really good because you could take like a lot of life lessons from it too if you want, because it pretty much shows you like, I don't know if I should like give away movie stuff, but like it shows
Don't
you like religious stuff. Like
don't worry about spoilers in this
yeah, I guess it
podcast,
came out 10
guys.
years ago because it's like fuck.
If you're watching this podcast,
Yeah,
just be prepared for full spoilers for every movie we're talking about here.
yeah. I mean, I just like the whole Bible thing, and he was like blind. You didn't really know he was blind until like kind of the end. You kind of figured it out, but like I don't know. I just thought it was really well done. What's that actor's name? The guy the main guy. What's his name again?
Denzel Washington.
Yeah, like
He's
I always
an
like a lot
amazing
of
actor.
movies. Yeah, like that airplane movie he was in and stuff. Like
There's movies I've seen just
He
for
does a
the
really
sake
good job.
he's in it. You know.
Yeah, he does a really good job of the main character in that one. I feel like it was just a really good like acting job by him. Like he didn't seem like Denzel Washington. He kind of like seemed exactly like the guy.
Now, I think it's crazy that you actually voted this as your favorite movie of 2010 because it's got a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes. I know people say don't fucking listen to Rotten Tomatoes, but that's still a pretty low score. 47%, that's still rotten, you know? It's got
Yeah.
a 6.9 on
Oh, I know.
IMDb.
There's a lot of movies I like that I look them up and they get reviewed like terribly. So it's like
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's
that
going to be
like
another thing about this podcast, guys, is that the movies that you might think are good might not be movies that we think are good. You know, we like movies that are rated badly. Period.
like
Because
I thought the
that's
action
just
in
the
it
way
was
it
decent.
is.
Had some decent like fight scenes and there were some like suspenseful moments. Like with the girl who like pretended to be like a scavenger or whatever. I can't really remember. It was kind of a long time ago, so
Yeah,
I don't
but
know like
and
specific
then he went to
names.
that town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
was
then
just
like he had the book like oh dude, it was so long ago. But it was
so
such a
long.
good movie.
It
I remember
it's
watch I remember watching it and saying, I want to watch this again, and I watched it again.
yeah. I
And
think
every
I
time
watched
I
it
see it
more
on
than
TV, I watch it.
yeah. I saw it in like hotels a couple times, and I just always remember. I'm like, this was basically a school project for me, because it like we had to like write something about the ethics in it or something, and I can't remember because it was so long ago. But yeah, I would probably say that one. Like if I had to pick like a favorite, there's obviously like close seconds and stuff like Shutter Island, Inception, like obviously. But like I don't know. I wouldn't watch Inception a second time. I'd watch The Book of Eli a second time though.
Wow.
Okay.
Inception, I feel like, is a movie that you gotta watch 3 times to finally understand it. And that's
Oh,
what makes it awesome.
Yeah,
maybe
you
that's why I
definitely
don't like it.
you don't understand
I gotta do
anything
that.
on the
I gotta watch
first.
it again.
But that's not why you should. Okay, we'll get into that argument later. That's not why you shouldn't like a movie because you have to watch it multiple times. But we'll talk about that. That's a different topic for a different day.
Yeah.
So Anthony, what did you like Book of Eli? Was that one of your favorite movies of that year, or did you not see it?
It wasn't one of my favorite movies of the year, but yeah, it wasn't.
Tron was good too.
There's too many good movies in 2010 that I liked more than that to even put that in consideration, to be honest.
Ooh.
So, with that being said, what was your favorite movie of 2010?
My favorite movie of 2010 was actually, to this day, Matt just brought it up, is probably my favorite movie, maybe of all time, and that's Shutter Island. Because, number one rule about me, should have put this in my introduction. I'm a Leonardo DiCaprio stan. I will watch any movie he's in. Love the guy. Love Shutter Island. It literally checks all the boxes of my favorite type of movie, psychological thriller. Don't really know, at the end, spoiler alert, I don't care. Don't know if he was crazy or not, or if he actually was on duty as a investigator.
And then he gets sent. He gets sent to
The whole lobotomy.
the execution.
Yeah, like you really don't know, like if he was, wrongfully lobotomized, or if he actually, or he was crazy the whole time. And Shutter Island, I love that movie, and the acting from Leonardo DiCaprio, you don't even have to really talk about it because every single movie that you see him in, you expect the acting to just be on par. I mean, also
It was good.
it took me until a couple years ago when I finally realized that Mark Ruffalo is the secondary character in that movie, the secondary actor, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's Mark
I
Ruffalo.
forgot.
Yeah. Mark
That's
Ruffalo.
the
Like, that's
thing.
the Hulk, man.
I'm reading that right here too. You're right. Is he
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, dude, and he
Man.
killed it too. But like, I didn't even realize when I first watched it. I was like,
Yeah, because we were like younger then, you know what I mean? It was like it was crazy seeing a movie like that, like at the age we were kind of at. 'Cause,
yeah.
like
I mean, and also at the time, I'm pretty sure Mark Ruffalo wasn't even the Hulk by then. I'm pretty sure, if anything, it was Edward Norton before
Yeah,
they changed
it
his role.
was.
Yeah, I don't think he was the Hulk then.
Mhm.
But I don't
So
remember the full
watched
Hulk.
it again recently. I was like, holy shit, that's Mark Ruffalo.
But with
Um,
that being said, I thought you were gonna say Inception, and with that being said, my favorite movie of 2010 was Shutter Island, also, and it's exactly because of the reason you said, and it's what was the ending trying to tell you? Was he actually crazy, or was he wrongfully lobotomized? Like, the way I interpreted it was that he was crazy up until that point where he was in the lighthouse, and then that's when he realized, oh, I've been doing this for years. There's nothing left for me out in the world, so I might as well just keep playing like I'm crazy and have
Yeah,
them kill me. You know,
yeah,
that's what I
I
thought.
think
that's
I
the way
saw it.
I interpreted it,
Yeah.
and I didn't get that interpretation of it until watching it like 3 or 4 times, maybe five, and that's because it's one of my favorite movies. And it's one of those kind of movies where every time you watch it, you pick up something different, you pick up something
Yeah.
new, and those are the kind of movies that are going to survive the test of time. And those are the
Yeah,
kind of movies we're going to be talking about here in this podcast. And I'm really glad that Shutter Island is really up there. You know, Book of Eli. You know, it's weird. I thought one of you guys was going to say Inception.
Inception is definitely probably my number two.
yeah.
For literally those reasons as well. You know, it's that one actually.
Starcourtmedia.
Like Shutter Island, I pretty much understood. I understood everything when I first watched it. Inception, like I legitimately had to watch it like a week later to like really grasp what I was watching, and like because that movie like you know classic Christopher Nolan. You know, he just tries to send your mind on like a you don't even know what's right and what's left. Like his
And it was
Exactly.
such a big movie. It
yeah.
was such a big movie. It was
What did we say the
everywhere.
budget was? The budget was like
Yeah,
180 mil, and
yeah,
made it very much cleared that budget. Yeah, and that we were talking about, he's got Tenet coming out this year. Looks like another
yeah.
type of mind bending movie. Looks a lot like Inception.
I feel
I,
like it could be connected to the Inception movie.
I was reading
Oh,
some theories online actually recently that said that it's not like it's obviously being marketed as like its own movie, but they could see Christopher Nolan tying it in some way and even making it some sort of like Inception sequel, but like you won't know until you watch the movie, which that would be absolutely insane. And we also saw that the budget for that is already over 200 mil, which is insane. So that
is it?
movie's gonna be awesome.
Oh shit.
So, what would you rate Shutter Island
Out of what, 10?
out of 5?
Out of 5?
Unless you
4.
want to do out of 10. Do you want to do out of 10 or out of 5?
Out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 9, honestly. 9 and a half. Like it's literally, I don't know what movie I would give a 10, and I don't know if Shutter Island deserves a 10, but I would definitely give Shutter Island at least a 90%. I love that movie, man. Inception's also up there, like
Yeah.
85.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt? What would you
What?
give?
Shutter Island?
What would you give Book of Eli? What's your rating for Book of Eli?
Probably like an 8.
8. Nice.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
I also got to shout out that movie with Ben Affleck, The Town.
The
That movie
Town.
Yeah, I never saw
also
that.
came out in 2010. That just
I
barely
heard
made my
it.
list as well because like under Shutter Island and Inception are super hard to beat in my book, obviously, but The Town was absolutely awesome. Like just I'm not like a huge I'm just craving action, like always going to like the Fast and Furious releases and stuff, but like that movie like really like that it's full of like just action, all the different like robberies and stuff that they go on. They all dress up in different costumes every time. Kind of reminds me of how like in the Dark Knight with the first couple scenes with the Joker and they're all dressed up as clowns. It's like it
Yeah.
reminds me like it gives me some
Oh,
Town vibes because on every single one of their robberies, their heists, they all do different costumes. Like the costume design in that movie is insane.
what is the town about? I never saw that movie.
It's about a bunch of like official, like high class people that are robbing banks to like live. I
Yeah.
think, if I remember right.
Oh,
It's been
oh,
I
they dress
haven't
up like
seen it since
nuns.
2010, and they dress up like nuns and they dress up like a bunch of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
You got the drug dealer guy, you got the
maybe I should
cop,
watch
and
that.
then you got
Every heist is a different theme, so they
yeah.
all have different themes every time, so that they can't be connected. I mean, you can
And
still
then
connect.
at the end, it all comes together and in like a nice little bow kind of thing. The
Yeah,
town was really good.
it was.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing, like until you guys brought it up right now. So maybe I should watch it now.
And then of course, 2010 still had Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part One. It had Toy Story 3. Insidious came out. Tron Legacy was good. You didn't like Insidious. I didn't like Insidious either, but I only mentioned it because
It was big. It started a
it's
thing.
famous for some reason. I don't
Yeah,
understand. I don't understand. It's not that good of a movie, but people seem to like it.
yeah,
You know,
it did something right.
2010 had some pretty good movies. There's
Yeah,
some
there was.
more. There's some more that we haven't mentioned, but we'll talk about in a different podcast.
We could stay on 2010 all day, man.
Yeah, 2010 is
2010.
probably the best year of the decade. One of the best years, at least. All right, so that was part one of the podcast. Part two will be uploaded later on this week, and it will probably we'll probably be talking a little bit more about other years instead of just one year in the next part. Since we spent so much time introducing ourselves in the first part, we'll expand more on the decade in part two. All right, so thank you for joining us. Please comment, subscribe, and make sure you ring that bell button for notifications. We'll catch you on part two.